Sunday against the Bears is a statement game for Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. What do I mean? Let's discuss.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily Arizona Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Locked On Cardinals, Alex Clancy here. Follow me on Twitter at Clancy's Corner. Follow the podcast at Locked On AZ Cards. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen, free wherever you get your podcast, and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. I am so geeked about Sunday. There's so many different reasons why. With how this season has progressed, with the depths of hell that we've gone through emotionally, just witnessing, oh no, it really is going to be 2025 before relevancy happens. And then you have the peaks like the Rams game, where it's like, oh, Marvin Harrison Jr. is ready right now. And then the lulls afterwards. And then the last 2 weeks. And then the win against San Francisco 4 weeks ago. Like, it's been a roller coaster of emotions. And whatever the best part of the roller coaster, that's what we're experiencing now. 4-4 with two fairly winnable games at home, back-to-back, with the bye week looming in week 11. The can't-do list. What can't the Cardinals do if they want to win on Sunday? As always, that's the final segment. Darius Robinson and Jonah Williams will both not play. That news came out early this morning. So excuse me with the crossover yesterday with Lauren Cox. It's a great watch. Anyways, you get a lot of good introspection into the Bears organization and what they've gone through this season. I did mention that Darius Robinson was tracking to play. Jonah Williams was, the practice window was open. There was a chance that he would play. Both are not playing. I'll discuss the ramifications on Sunday or for Sunday in the second segment. But for me now, and I contemplated doing this segment or waiting to get a little bit more insight, or, actual experience of these two guys on the field together. But it's this week. This week is a statement week for Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr., showing people their progression and cohesion through 7 full games and a blip that Marvin Harrison Jr. has played. And what we saw last week was the first 60-minute organic experience between Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr., where you could see they've been in the lab. The reps have been there, and you're starting to see two elite players. And stay out of the comments if you don't think Kyler Murray's elite. I mean, you know what? No, bring it, but come on. You're starting to see, instead of two elite players just being on the field together, two elite players working together on the same field. It was organic. It was natural. We're starting to see the emergence of the slow drag route for chunk gains and touchdowns. Like, if the offensive line can hold up, Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. are going to be fruitful for the rest of the year and hopefully for the remainder of their future with the Arizona Cardinals. But why it's a statement game is simply this. It's not that Marvin Harrison Jr. has to have 7 catches for 110 yards and a touchdown again. That's not what I mean specifically, but look at it like this. Pulling up the numbers. The Buffalo week was bad. Okay, his first game as a pro. And then against the Rams, he absolutely balls out. 8 for 130 and 2 touchdowns. 4 for 130 and 2 touchdowns. I think all of that was in the first quarter. And then you see 5 for 64 and a touchdown, 5 for 6 yards and a touchdown against Washington. And then 2 for 7, 0 for 2, 3 for 6. Or 3-0-6. I'm looking at targets also. 2-0-3 in the 3 games. And then he had the blowout last week. So the reasoning behind this is you don't need to see 6 for 110 and a touchdown. But what you do need to see, especially if he's going to be mirrored by Jalen Johnson. I mean, they've got a very good defense. Montez Sweat is going to wreak havoc in the middle of the defensive line, and it's going to be something Yeltfrold's going to have to, man up and stop. You need to see that natural, organic flow that we saw last week. It's not numbers-based specifically. Like, if there's 2 broken plays and he has 3 catches for 100 yards and a touchdown, but it was, a DB fell down or there was blown coverage. I want to see the best defense played and Marvin Harrison Jr. and Kyler Murray rising above it. I want to see Marvin Harrison Jr. starting to emerge as the first offensive weapon of the pass catchers, hurdling over Trey McBride, because it's still Trey McBride. Trey McBride's a better player right now. I would love to see, and I mentioned this before the season started, this is around the time of a rookie year where wide receiver ones really pop. Sure, it happens sooner, it happens later, it happens year two. Like we've seen, obviously, all different types on the spectrum. But Marvin Harrison Jr. is trending after that game last week and the way that it happened, trending towards taking pass catcher one on the depth chart. But it can't be a massive regression of 3 catches for 22 yards on 4 targets. This is a full-blown momentum play. This is a full-blown, either they figured it out or they figured it out for 45 minutes because the first quarter was not a good offensive output by the Cardinals. So that's why, statement-wise, it's more showing that they're really starting to get on the same page and that Drew Petzing is continuing to make the right play calls in an effort for them to get on the same page. And there's, conflicting reports on why Marv wasn't getting the ball. Were the calls being made by Drew Petzing and Kyler Murray was finding different options? Was it coverage? Was it, everything in between? We don't know. I think a lot of this is going to start to work itself out, and we're going to find out. And the reason why you draft a guy like Marvin Harrison Jr. number 4 overall is because you'll be able to trust him with his role quicker than a 3rd or 4th or 5th round pick. Like, that's just how this works. But statement-wise, this offense is supposed to be the leader of this team in 2024. And they haven't been for large portions of the season, large portions of games. Over the last couple of weeks, they were able to get away with it. They were able to lead down the stretch. You don't want to live on the high wire act with no safety net of having to march down the field and kick a field goal with zeros on the clock to win games. You'd much rather win more handily. And with what's been going on with Chicago, this is definitely a game the Cardinals can win. It starts with the run game naturally, but I feel like, and I mentioned this at the beginning of this week, I believe, that if we start to see a lesser percentage of run and a higher percentage of pass, nothing insane, but instead of 60-40, we're seeing 55-45, and they're able to move the ball down the field through the pass game, because that's where all the talent is. Like, you've got James Conner naturally, but they've got 5 wide receivers and Trey McBride and Kyler Murray throwing the ball. If you start to see that movement percentage-wise of play calling, whether it be Kyler Murray running the plays Drew Petzing's calling or he's checking out because he's seeing different coverages, and it starts to work, that's what's going to make this offense wildly scary for anyone they play, irrespective of how good the defense is that they're facing. Because if the situation arises, and this is why this is a statement game for Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr., because if you can unlock Marvin Harrison Jr., you know who benefits most? James Conner, Trey McBride, Greg Dortch, for crying out loud. Zay Jones, is he even a Cardinal? If they can have opposing secondaries fear the pass attack more than the running game, James Conner's only going to see light boxes for the rest of the year. And then opposing defensive coordinator is going to be in the blender. Who do you stop? And that's what the ideal was when this roster was constructed on offense as it's been constructed. Who do you stop? Pick your poison. And the Cardinals offense and offensive scheme acts accordingly. They're not there yet because the passing game is a little bit behind the curve than what they maybe expected, or Marvin Harrison Jr. is just a wide receiver one getting wide receiver one treatment, and they're having to adapt. And that's something that we're going to find out this week, and especially the week after when the Jets come to town after Houston ran roughshod all over them. We're going to know a lot more about the Cardinals offense as it currently sits this week after an impressive performance last week for 3 quarters, especially centralized around the production of Kyler Murray to Marvin Harrison Jr. And that's why this is a statement game, not just for numbers for Marv, but for the entirety of the offense moving forward. And that's what I'm geeked up about. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. Darius Robinson. We'll have to wait another week to see the rookie play. Jonah Williams, The practice window was open from him to return from IR, but he will not play on Sunday either. What does it mean on both sides of the ball? Discuss it next. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by the Game Time app. I love the Game Time app. I could just say that for a minute and do that as a live read. Game Time app has everything you need to make buying tickets easy. Okay? Like, I bought Green Day tickets, went and saw Green Day, got them from the Game Time app. I didn't know the road that I was, like, what the vantage point was going to be because I'd never been to a concert at Chase Field, downtown Phoenix. I got to see. It's wild. It takes all the guesswork out of buying tickets. And it's football games. It's concerts. It's comedy shows. Like, it's Suns games now. The biggest, like, game changer from all, as I mentioned earlier, is the panoramic seat view option. Where it's like, okay, say you want to go to a Suns game, okay? And you want to see if you can get a flash sale or a little bit of a cheaper price in a section that you haven't sat in before. But you're like, I wonder what the vantage point is going to be. I don't want to, have obstructed view or anything like that. I want to be high enough so I can see the whole court. You go in, you look, like, oh, I wonder what this section looks like. You click on the ticket before you buy it, and you can grab your phone and go like this, and it'll show you the exact vantage point you'll see from those seats. It is absolutely the game changer that ticket buying processes need, and Game Time has you covered. Take that guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is also brought to you by our friends at 5 Hour Energy. There's so many different times that you can use 5 Hour Energy. And our friends over at 5 Hour Energy know that being a passionate football fan isn't just a hobby. It's a way of life. It takes a lot of energy to power through all-day tailgates, touchdown celebrations, or an agonizing second overtime. Now, like, say, put it this way. Halftime last week against the Dolphins is like, I need a little extra juice because we have no idea what the second half's going to supply for us. You hope that the offense is going to wake up and the Cardinals can steal a dub in South Beach on the road, or are we going to see what the first quarter brought out from the offense, which was a big old squadouche? So I had to take a little 5 Hour Energy in the halftime, amp me up, rode all the way to a Cardinals win. 5 Hour Energy knows that no matter what team you root for, being a fan requires heart, soul, and a whole lot of energy. Whether you're prepping for a big tailgate or ironing your jersey, your game day to-do list is always a mile long. That's why the limited edition Stand the Fan 5 Hour Energy shot is here to help keep you fueled throughout the season. What's your fan fuel this week? Whatever it is, do it with a 5 Hour Energy. Available on 5hourenergy.com, shipped nationwide. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. Alex Clancy here. Please go to the YouTube channel. Search Locked On Arizona Cardinals. Hit that subscribe button, man. Turn notifications on. If you want to go leave a review where reviews are left, cool. I'm just happy that you're here. So while the Cardinals have fared okay without Darius Robinson and Jonah Williams, I mean, the offensive line has fared very well without Jonah Williams. That's not to say that he's not going to be an integral part. That's not to say he won't make Kyler Murray's job easier when he comes back. But the Cardinals, by all accounts, have been fine. Now, the pass rush has been terrible. I don't know what Darius Robinson's going to add right out the gate off an injury and then, losing his mom a few weeks ago, which is, indescribable. I couldn't imagine what he's going through. I don't think it's going to change much. Like, I don't think the Bears were going to game plan for Darius Robinson. With that said, let's start with the defense. I titled the overlay card yesterday, the title card yesterday, pressure the rookie. The Cardinals have to make Caleb Williams' job difficult on Sunday. And that seems very obvious. I know a lot of things seem cliche when they're said in this space, but that's it. Achman's razor. Sometimes the most simple solution is the right solution. And their offensive line isn't necessarily Swiss cheese territory, but it's in the fermentation phase. Let's put it that way. It can be got. The interior of the offensive line can be got. And I don't know what sort of whimsical blitz packages Nick Rallis and Jonathan Gannon need to cook up, but they need to do something. And I think using Kazir White and Mac Wilson would be massively beneficial, especially if the interior of the defensive line can get any sort of push up the middle in the A-gaps. If they can get any sort of push in an effort to collapse the pocket, it'll allow Kazir White and Mac Wilson to hit people hard, which is what they're really good at. And until Darius Robinson comes back, and we'll see when the trade deadline is up on November 5th what this defense is going to look like if Montez Sweat decides to make a move. For the rest of the year, if the Cardinals want to remain relevant, they're going to have to fashion some sort of pass rush. And that's obvious, but we're getting down to the nitty gritty here. We're 96 hours away, ballpark, from the 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 24, 6, 1, 96. Nailed it. Math teachers would be proud. Away from the trade deadline, and they haven't made any moves. So this is a perfect time to figure out, again, who can be trusted, maybe not in the traditional pass rusher role, to be able to get some pressures. Like, talk about last week, I had Kyle Krabs on from Locked On Dolphins when we did our crossover a week ago this past Thursday, and he said that they were rushing Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey had five blitz opportunities 2 weeks ago, and he got 4 pressures. Like, if it has to be the corners, if it has to be the linebackers in the middle of the field, if it has to be Jalen Thompson, Budda Baker, it doesn't matter. They've got to get pressure on Caleb Williams because he can turn the ball over. He gets loosey-goosey, especially throwing the ball down the field. Opportunistic defenses, regardless of talent level, it sways. It's like the less talent you have, the more opportunistic you need to be. Like, they're not going to grind out a win more times than not with this defense. They're just not. So they're going to have to force the issue. And that is a big thing, especially with Darius Robinson out. That's got to be the focal point this week. How to get to Caleb Williams, how to cut the head off the snake, how to force him to make mistakes, how to keep him pressured throughout the game. To be a massive, massive, massive benefit for the Cardinals, especially with the defense that the Bears are bringing out and the offensive skill position players with DeAndre Swift and Keenan Allen and DJ Moore and Rome Odunze and Cole Kmet. They've got a bevy of them. So if you can get to Caleb Williams before he can read through his progressions, Cardinals have a very, very good chance of winning on Sunday. Now, with Montez Sweat, with Jalen Johnson, and everybody in between on the defensive side of the ball for the Bears, missing out on Jonah Williams isn't going to be as big of a deal. Kelvin Beachum's been great. He's been great. Isaiah Adams, if he plays right guard again, he's been good. Yalta Froholt is a Pro Bowler. He's not, maybe won't be recognized as a Pro Bowler, but he's a Pro Bowler for the Cardinals. Evan Brown's been great at left tackle or left guard. And Paris Johnson Jr. has been great at left tackle. So there's one like reset of expectations that's needed right now because the offensive line hasn't given up a sack in 3 games. Okay, so that could be 25%. The maybe smartest thing I've ever said on this podcast. The best offensive lineman that the Arizona Cardinals will have is Kyler Murray's legs. That's just so give Kyler Murray and his elusivity in the pocket 25%. They've been great for the other 75%. And resetting of expectations. We're not looking at 90s across the board needing to be great as an NFL offensive line unit. Houston, 8 times they were sacked by the Jets last night. 8. So even if the Cardinals give up 2 sacks, 1 sack here, 2 sacks the next game, it's the body of work. Kyler Murray has had time. Kyler Murray isn't Bryce Young in the pocket where Bryce Young catches the ball, downset hike, 1 second gone, rolling out because the offensive line isn't holding up, especially with all the money that David Tepper spent on the offensive line this year. The Cardinals have a very frugally paid offensive line, and they've been borderline elite. They have. It's not perfect. No offensive line is perfect. But Kyler Murray's had plenty of time. Now it's on him, and it's on the offense to be able to, maximize that. But they've been great. And they haven't given up a sack in 3 weeks. Fine. And Kyler Murray's legs is only responsible for a portion of that. What they've done is kept the Cardinals relevant against good defenses. They've given Kyler Murray time, and Jonah Williams missing another week isn't going to hurt that. It'll be interesting to see when he comes back. I wonder if they're going to move Kelvin Beachum into play right guard. I don't understand. I can't comprehend having him not be on the field really at all unless there's an injury. He's been solid. We'll see. I know it's not a traditional position for him. Isaiah Adams has played fine at right guard since Will Hernandez has gone down. That is a great problem to have, especially with how the season started, with Jonah Williams going down pretty much right away. It's like, welp, now what? And then Kelvin Beachum did have a great start to the year, and he's really found his stride like he's had since he's been in Arizona Cardinal. It's been wonderful to see from an aging vet, great leader, great clubhouse guy. Even called out Kyler Murray a couple of years ago, which I think Kyler Murray at the time needed, even though he was kind of vilified for it, which I didn't really understand. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. The can't-do list. What can't the Cardinals do if they want to win on Sunday? Next, Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. I already said that. I'm not going to edit. I already said it, though. Too many times. I apologize. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. So here's the thing. NFL action, FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. They go hand in hand. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets after placing a $5 bet that wins. New customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bet. Say Marv absolutely crushes his over-under in the first half, and you think that he's in line for more. You can go into the app mid-game and be like, yep, I'm going to take that over. I'm going to take that over. I think this is going to be the most yards Marvin Harrison Jr. has had in a game. You can do that. Or if you think it's going to be opposite, you can take advantage of that too. Just go visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. All right, so Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. I'm juiced for this game. You can taste the blood in the water a little bit, not directly correlated to the Bears or the Jets in weeks 9 and week 10. If the Cardinals can split these next 2 weeks, doesn't matter which game is the win, because they lost going into the bye week. It's not an original story. It happens. People bounce back. Teams bounce back. They need any sort of positivity going into the bye week because that'll linger. And then they've got, quote-unquote, cupcake schedule. There's no such thing in the NFL, but they've got Carolina and New England. They've got Seattle twice. They've got winnable games after their bye week. If they can split, at worst, that's better than anybody could have expected. But it starts with Sunday. One of the things that the Cardinals cannot do on Sunday if they want to win is have DeAndre Swift run all over them. And it's something that he's been kind of Jekyll and Hyde early in the season. It looked like one of the worst offseason signings in 2024 across the NFL. And then they found some sort of elixir, and he's been better this year than his entire career. And they're using him. They're giving him a lot of touches, man. A lot of touches. And it's going to be like, if they're smart, it's going to be very Devon Achane from last week. Get him in space, let the kid eat. Get him in space, let the kid eat. Get him in space, get blockers in front of him, let the kid eat. Screen pass is going to be something. I'm going to change it. They cannot allow the Bears to screen pass the hell out of them. It's not going to be the running. It's going to be DeAndre Swift's production primarily through the pass game. That's the evolution of thought right there. I'm just going to change it instead of pretend like I just argue with myself. I haven't done that in a while. Where I argue with myself. I overrule myself immediately after, but I'm going to do that there. Screen pass game. That's the big one, okay? Because, yes, you've got DJ Moore. Yes, Rome Odunze. Yes, Keenan Allen. All great, down the field threats, intermediate threats. Cole Kmet, same thing. DeAndre Swift is the Trojan horse. You cannot continue 5 catches, 70 yards, and a touchdown. Can't happen. They got away with it in Miami. Can't happen again, especially with the defense that the Bears are rolling out there. That's one. Number two, and it's an homage to last segment and the show yesterday. got to get after Caleb Williams. Like, it doesn't, I don't care if they have 0 sacks. Sacks don't matter. Like, they're beneficial because a lot of times on third down, if they're coverage sacks, they force punts, things like that. Pressures. Make him make a mistake or two. Make him make a mistake or two. He's still a rookie. He's played very well recently compared to early struggles, even though I think he won week 1 with 94 passing yards or something like that. You've got to get in his kitchen and make him uncomfortable. He's very elusive. He's got a cannon. He has no problem throwing off the run. But the more he throws off the run, the better chance that there's going to be a ball that's just going to sail and fall into a safety or a DB or corners, just belly. And turnovers or something the Cardinals are desperately going to need, especially for the rest of the season if they want to win games with the talent on defense is currently constructed. That's 2. Number 3, and this is going to be one every week. A lot of times when we discuss, who's the team MVP or who's the key to victory, who's the guy that's got to do it, usually just take out the quarterback because it's inferred. Every week, Kyler Murray needs to be special. There's no playing around anymore. And it's year 6. Why was there playing around before? Stop. This year, this roster, Kyler Murray must be elite every week if the Cardinals want to win. He must be elite. An elite game manager who makes special plays. And in the comments, like, game manager is a compliment. You know how many bad quarterbacks there are who can't even do that? And game manager, Tom Brady was an elite game manager who made special plays at special times. Being a game manager, you know the offense better than everybody times 100. You know every little wrinkle of the defense that they're going to throw at you. You know every correct play to check to. And you convert on third downs and you make big plays when you need to. That's what an elite game manager does. Kyler Murray needs to be elite. And I think, one thing I do think that they figured out or are close to fully unlocking the perfect mix of ingredients is when they're peppering in the run game. Because I'm not a proponent of Kyler Murray running as much as Lamar Jackson. No shot. No shot, never. You never want Kyler Murray to be running the ball 7, 8, 9, 10 times a game, in my opinion. Unless they're weird little 3rd and 1s and you're like designed runs, no way. You want the run game to be from running backs, and then you pepper in the special from Kyler Murray. I think we're at the point now where people still, it's lazy, but, the Cardinals don't deserve the national respect yet. So people aren't watching. Like, they're starting to. I think the narrative surrounding, Kyler Murray runs first. Kyler Murray is a running quarterback. While he's not Tom Brady or Phillip Rivers running the ball, because those guys are statues, he's also not Anthony Richardson or Lamar Jackson. Now, Lamar Jackson is a better quarterback than Kyler Murray is. Kyler Murray is a better thrower of the football than Lamar Jackson is, and it ain't close. It's not. So the whole adage that Kyler Murray needs to run the ball to be effective, we're going to put that to sleep. With that said, the right elixir, the right ingredient percentage on how much he's running the ball, scheduled runs, in an effort to keep opposing defenses on their heels, in an effort to unlock the rest of the offense, that's what they need to pinpoint with 0 negligence, with 0 fault. That's the key to make Kyler Murray the best quarterback he can be. And while it's counterintuitive, because it's like, well, no, you just said that he throws first. Yes. I'm more interested in how they keep opposing defenses guessing. Now, the broken play touchdown against the Chargers, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the play against the 49ers where he housed it from 50. It's not the distance. It's how the defenses are set up and how the Cardinals offense exploits that. And we saw that against the Rams, or we saw that against the 49ers. The Chargers, he was against a linebacker. Kyler Murray's going to beat him, 100 times out of 10. He got outside, broken play, gone. That was a designed run against the 49ers, and it unlocked everything. All you need, and it doesn't have to be a touchdown. It doesn't have to be for 40 yards. And it's not that 3rd and 4 that saved the game for the Cardinals. That's not what I'm talking about either. I'm talking about that one time where everybody's looking one way and Kyler Murray's running the other. It only has to happen once a game to remind people the power that this offense can yield if run properly. And that is something that Kyler Murray, Drew Petzing must be elite with for the rest of the season. And I think that we're close to seeing that happening, and that is so exciting. And again, it's only one play. It doesn't matter. It's like when a pitcher throws a 12-6 curve at that one time in the game where you strike a player out and everybody looks, oh, he's not all fastballs. Oh, he's not all sliders and fastballs. You got to watch out for that 12-6. And that's something with Kyler that they're close to finding. And it's really just about massaging the situation, finding the right times, and exploiting them. That's all it takes to keep opposing defenses on their heels. And that gives the Cardinals offense leverage enough to withstand the defense not being where they need to be talent-wise for the rest of the season. I'm stoked to see it. I'm jacked about this game. It's going to be so fun to watch. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. Remember, without you, there is no me. I'll talk to you Monday.